So the first thing that I want to talk about is one of the hot topics that you talk about all the time. I do have a couple of suggestions. What are we going to do with the military? The military is the largest polluter. The U.S. military alone is the largest polluter on the planet. Now, I've asked that same question of some people. I've asked Susie Dawson. I've asked some other people on other streams. Dave Swanson has spoken on this kind of thing as well. One of the things that is being suggested is that they are used as disaster relief, and actually Graham Elwood has spoken on that as well. So whether it be flood,
and we'll need that, and not only disaster relief but disaster prevention.
Correct.
Sorry, but yes.
And some building of sand walls and all that kind of thing, for floods, and also to be used for finally cleaning up some of the Superfund sites, or some of the, I could say all of the Superfund sites. Now, I was doing some research trying to find out how many sites were actually caused by dumping from the U.S. military. I live on Long Island, as Christine mentioned, and the thing is, I work blocks away from the Bethpage facility, or actually, I work in the old Bethpage Navy facility, which is now a postal facility, and that area has been affected by something called the Bethpage plume, which is contaminated groundwater, contaminated by trichloroethylene, and it was so detrimental that the Secretary of the Interior, the guy who was booted out, I can't remember his name, he actually said that it was dangerous material, but it hasn't been banned yet. It hasn't been banned yet.
Okay.
And they spent $42 million was allocated in 2017 to clean this up. It has been spreading for the past 40 years. So if the military and the government is serious about cleaning these sites up, they can use the military for that as well.
Yeah, and all the mining sites too. Correct. I mean, there's so much problems with mining. I remember as a child, not a child, I was in my 20s, but my parents' house that they live in now, they had to dig up 3 feet of soil all around their property in order to get rid of the mine tailings that were poisoning the land there. They didn't get rid of it anywhere outside of a few, meters away from the house. So where the horses were, they didn't clean it up. This is just a side note. We had like 5 horses get colic and die in a very short period of time. More than I've ever had. I haven't had any since I've lived out here. I didn't have any before I lived out there, and I've had horses my entire life. So, there's issues with that. There's definitely issues there.
Well, my whole question with my suggestion is where do you dispose of any of this waste or pollution, or how is it taken care of, and all of that. Again, I'm not a scientist, and I know you have people on. So with different chemicals and different issues, a degreaser is going to be dealt with completely different than glyphosate.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I don't know if they even have those answers. They really haven't thought that far in advance. I mean, so far they're just encapsulating them and burying them, or there's a place out here called Clean Harbors where they incinerate chemicals and such, which, then it just goes out into the air, which then in turn ends up in our water supply. As far as I can tell, I'm not a scientist either, but that can't be good for our environment for them to do that. And then so we have Energy Solutions that buries it, and we have Clear Harbors that incinerates it. And I don't think either one of those solutions are very great. And that's where what the scientists come in. We don't have
Right.
these answers. We're just people. We're just people trying to figure out how to live in this world. That's it.
And what on earth do we do? I've been railing against Monsanto for a while, and I know I'm not going to go too far into that. But I have a bottle of Roundup, and I've been trying to figure out what the hell to do with that Roundup. I have, polyethylene in my basement that leaked out of a freaking can. I don't know what the hell to do with it. These are things that you're going to have to deal with, just as
but on a global scale.
But on a global scale.
Like
but on a global scale.
And then if you consider all the graveyards where people are pumped full of formaldehyde and buried, that's a problem too. It is.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, that's a horrible thing to say. Your loved ones are buried in the ground, but they were pumped full of formaldehyde that's eventually going to make it into the water system. It's polluting our planet. That's a horrible thing to say. God, I know I'm going to get ripped up one side and down the other for that comment right there. I'm sorry, but those are things I think about. I know I'm weird, but I think about stuff like that. Sorry, Dave, this is your interview.
Well, and my other side note, because I just, we watch TV and all of that. I saw a Roundup commercial about how wonderful they've been for the past 5 decades, and I was like, can we regulate those commercials? I know that's just an aside, but I like the way that that
I wish I could come in on
I know, but the way that they are.
No, I can't.
I know you can't. But I will say it. It's criminal, and I wish that just like cigarettes are labeled, that chemicals like that could be labeled. That's all I'll say. But let's see what else in terms of population, and we're talking about the carbon footprint.
Oh, Chris Foster. Sorry. Chris Foster made it here. He missed my last couple live streams, so I just have to really quick say hi, Chris Foster. And yeah, Oz did get a munchkin behind the curtain. Go ahead, sorry, Dave. Carbon footprint. Yeah, I'm there.
I don't know if you've ever watched the Bill Gates carbon footprint TED Talk. I will give it to you. Yeah, you need to watch it. He talks about, there were 4, and I can't remember one of them, but it was the population, our consumption basically, and our energy source, and there was something else, and I can't remember what it was. And he actually mentions reducing the population through vaccines, and we won't go through that whole thing. But
oh God, that's a can of worms.
Yeah, there is a question to be asked though.
Mm-hmm.
How do we control the population? How do we keep the population from increasing? I'm not, and it's like personal choice and personal responsibility kind of thing.
Yeah.
I noticed. I was talking to Deb on this, and I just thought about it. The glorification and the glamorization of these really rich girls just having 8 kids, Octomom or the Kardashians or the Duggars, 16 kids and me, or whatever the show is. There is a responsibility to control yourself a little. I don't know how to put it.
No, but okay, just consider the fact that about 50% of the pregnancies are unplanned.
Right.
I don't want to say unwanted. I've said that before, but I don't mean to say unwanted, because all mine were unplanned.
Right.
And 3, but not necessarily unwanted. But unplanned pregnancies account for like 50%. If we could just put women's reproduction in the hands of the individual women and give them options like
right.
You know, now they have much better birth control than they had when I was at that age. But I asked to have my tubes tied back then, and they wouldn't do it. I mean, they wouldn't do it. They just flat out refused. It was not my choice to do that. So if we could make those things more accessible to women and reduce the unplanned births, I think we would go a long ways to cutting down the population a little
Right.
bit, you know?
And trust me, before everybody gets upset or says that I am not talking about authoritarian control, birth control, and no. But
no, not forcing it. Not asking to kill people. Let's see. Wait, there's more comments. Hold on. There's 17 of them here, but on the plus side, at least my snoring isn't keeping my better half awake. Okay. Wait, human has a comment. I gotta read human's comment. Formaldehyde dilutes into the soil and becomes harmless within 10 years. Oh, that's good to know. I didn't know that. Thank you. However, the recently dead are being flooded out within days, leaching the chemicals into the soil quickly. Wow, that's good information, human. That's really good information. I mean, this was just a thought in my head. It's like I did no research on that, so I don't pretend to be any kind of an expert. Okay. Adam Thomas, 1 child per 100,000 that you earn. Yeah, but wouldn't that make it so only the rich people get to have babies? And we already have enough fucked up elites. Sorry about my language. I usually don't swear, but that warranted it. We already do. Oh my gosh.
And that would mean that only the elites would be voting.
Yeah. I mean, they're the only ones that matter anyway, because they control our whole entire system. I mean, pretty much you vote with dollars. But thanks, Adam Thomas. Green burial necessitates the use of non-toxic and biodegradable materials. Yeah. I wanted to just be cremated myself, be spread in, I don't know, is that bad? Is that a bad thing? Is maybe
no, cremation isn't
I just thought that was dust to dust, you know, go back into the earth and fertilize plants. I don't know. That's what I've told all my kids and my parents. My mom's not very happy. She wants to be buried, which is sad.
But I took a look, and there is an issue on Long Island with population density, and they're talking about there was an area in eastern Long Island. They're talking about building a casino and I swear to you, building a nuclear power plant next to the casino.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's the last thing we need.
I'm like, really? You're gambling in more ways than one. And then they're talking about natural gas as well. And, you know, I don't know what they're going to do, but
we need to end all of that. That just,
right.
that's the problem. There's no answer that will answer all of these questions. And maybe a scientist could help, but there's too many. There's just too many. There's too many questions, too many issues, and no one is dealing with them. Maybe we are today, but we're not going to have any effect on anything. But maybe if other people from us start talking about these things, that will spread out and go somewhere. But there's questions that need to be asked. You can't have this la land. Yeah, green jobs, you know, and that'll solve everything. But it's really not going to solve everything, especially if we start building new bridges. Okay,
I will definitely get to that before we go. But where were we? Oh, so the population, I was checking out, and these are old numbers. So I think it was about 9 years ago. So I'm sure it's increased at least a couple hundred. Just in my town in Suffolk County, it was about 1,600 people per square mile. So my question is, what is a sustainable, realistic population density per square mile that we could live with, literally that we could live with, because
we've exceeded it. We've exceeded the carrying capacity of the planet. I know that for sure.
True. True.
I think I heard some statistics on that, and I think it was, I don't know what hectares are, but it was like 1.3 hectares per person
Okay.
to sustain. But I don't know. I honestly, I didn't look that up. I already know that we've totally exceeded the amount that we can carry on with, unless we come up with some fantastic technologies and rebuild all the ecosystems that we've destroyed, which is going to, it would be a massive undertaking. That's what the military would have to help with, replanting forests, trying to introduce all the plant and animal life. I'm sure the scientists would have to help out with that. But you know, even with having the whole entire military, if they were all, you know, taken out of all those countries where they're bombing and causing more pollution, and coming back and doing the stuff they should be doing and helping us survive, defending us by rebuilding what we need, our eco infrastructure. Okay, that's what it needs, eco infrastructure. So that's what we need the military doing, is building the eco infrastructure back to where it should be. And I lost track of my point.
Well, here's another question. Here's another question that I have. How much should we actually get involved in trying to reverse the stuff that we've done, and what can we realistically do to halt it? I mean, we can't even slow down our consumption. We can't even
have to. That would have to happen.
Right. But how many, how much can we, part of this is a behavioral problem as well. It's not just a scientific problem. It's how do we get people to understand where we are and what needs to be done, and what we need to stop doing. Because I just realized that just going out today, how much gas I used, how much paper was used in the receipts that I was given, the paper bag, the burger that I ate, the paper bag, the cup, the glass that you were, I mean, all the stuff that we have, all the stuff in this room.
Every time you turn the water on to wash a dish,
the energy expanded to
the water you're wasting just to wash a freaking dish. Do you think they did that? Oh, hi Basil Peterson. Namaste to you too.
The amount of energy that we expend with all these lights. No, I'm just playing, but not really. Not really. I mean,
no,
all of this stuff. And how can we, as a nation, not use a phone for a day? I'm just curious. For a day. I mean, we talked about just the potential. Is 5G potentially dangerous? And people just,
I know, they freak out.
They freaked out because they're afraid we're taking their cell phone away.
This is the deal. People would rather continue living the way they're living and not give up any comforts, than they would give up those comforts and not go extinct.
They want to know the pain point, and I understand that.
But we passed that a long time ago.
Correct. How much can I have to give up so that I can live comfortably and not die?
Okay, you could live like Czar. I wash up once a week, use 4 pints of water. That, you know what? Laugh all you want. My mom raised me like that too. And
yeah,
unfortunately, I haven't followed that as much as I should. But she used to call it a spitz bath. We were raised 3 miles back on a dirt road, and you didn't waste water. You didn't waste water.
Wash tub.
Yeah.
I did the wash tub thing. That's why I was laughing. I did the
Yeah.
wash tub thing.
That's the way I was raised. I mean, I could go back to that, but a lot of people would have a really hard time with it.
Right.
But gosh, going south, I'm on 1G. Really? How do you even find 1G? Is 5B? Oh my gosh, you're going too fast through these laws. You have to slow down. Slow it down. I can't read them. Okay, wait. All right. Or are we to the point where we're supposed to be, are we at the end? Am I getting ahead of it? Because, we still have 15 minutes. Okay, hold up on your comments, guys, because we're going to read them, copy them, and paste them when we get to the 45-minute mark. 45 after, which is in 15 minutes.
Okay.
So if you have a comment you want us to read, copy it and then paste it at the end in that 15 minutes so we can continue to let Dave get his point across.
So
yeah.
One of the things that I really wanted to get across is all of this stuff about climate change is real, because all of these things are talking points to sell you something. Mm-hmm. When it comes to politicians, they want to sell you something. I think I figured out what they want to sell. So
anything they can make money off of, before they die.
there is a corporation, and you know where I'm going. Their name is Exelon, and yeah, and they are one of the largest electric companies in the world, and they also happen to be, I'm doing that for dramatic effect.
That's awesome.
The owner of the most nuclear power plants in the United States, and they are pushing for climate change legislation, and they're pushing for clean energy. And the selling point is that nuclear energy is clean. Going back to the Bill Gates TED Talk video, he mentioned using depleted uranium as an energy source. The nuclear waste as an energy source.
I've heard that before too, like making bricks of CO2 to burn, and I don't know if that would work either.
What are we willing to do? How far are we willing to go?
Well, right now we're at a Hail Mary stage, so but we need to make personal sacrifices. We need to work closer to home. We need to have incentives for that. I have my whole list. I'm going to go over that with Graham tomorrow. So
I have a question with you about that. I do have a question with you about that in regards to getting back to more rural lifestyle. Are you talking more local living, or not having as many buildings and bridges, tearing up the roads and bridges and dams? Are you talking about tearing them up, or are you talking about
the dams? Definitely the dams, for sure. Definitely the dams. It's hard it's detrimental to fish life. The dams are.
So my question with anything that's going to be taken out that currently exists is, how do you dispose of whatever is already out there in an environmentally safe way? And can the dams be, which dams can be safely dismantled?
These are questions for scientists and engineers, not a simpleton like me. I just know that we need to get back to a simpler way of life, and we don't need to be building more.
But crap. I'm just asking you that because I know you're doing more interviews with more scientists. These are the things. I don't think it is realistic right at this time just to start ripping stuff up. But over time, if they are built over or whatever, or I do see your point, but in terms of just tearing things up, another question I had is building a city like this, kind of like a test city, a viable option? And if it is, where should it be? What would be the best place to put this city? Would it be best to put it in Iowa because it's kind of like in the middle? Would it be best to put it like 2 or 3, like one in a mountain area, one in a maybe off the coast? Because my issue with not having access is then when it comes to emergency services, how, and if you have no roads, how do you get whoever the emergency services people, whether it be fire people or military or doctors or whatever, how do you get them to the homes? Just a question. Most of this is questions because
my internet sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah,
that's okay.
Those are good questions, but my internet sucks. I'm sorry.
It's perfectly fine.
I'm gonna see if I can turn off my video and maybe that will help. I don't know. No, it's not. Okay, I can't hear you.
Me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm not saying anything right now. Testing.
Okay, so I'm just saying that those things are things you can think about when you have all those niceties and those comforts. When we're thinking about going back to a sustainable world, I mean, maybe we could have lived with those comforts if we kept the population down to 1 to 1.5 billion. But where we have the population we have now, we have to leave as small of a footprint as possible. So yeah, we're going to have to give up some of those things like emergency services and crap and just depend on our neighbors like they did in the old days. That sounds really crazy, but that's the lengths you'll have to take to even slow down what's going on right now. It's pretty extreme. It's pretty scary. And even doing that might not be enough.
Right now, Oz might know too. What is the current population? It's over 6 billion.
7.5 billion.
Oh, Jesus. It's more now. Okay. 7.5. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's way over, and we couldn't handle another doubling. Hell, we can't even handle another 1/8 of a population adding to that and feed people. We're going to have a hell of a time feeding people. That's why we need to have local grown food and more diversified, because as the extreme temperatures alter the climate systems in areas where we now grow like one huge giant crop of one thing. Once that's wiped out, we're done. I mean, there's no longer enough diversity and flexibility to change crops up as the weather or the climate changes in those regions. So, or have some crops that fail and some crops that don't fail. Right now, if one crop fails, it's the whole freaking crop because they're too specialized. They're only doing one crop. And I'm talking with my hands like you can see me. I don't know, but but it seems to be better since I turned my camera off.
Right. Well, my other questions, and these are all questions. Anything that I really had to say with facts, I've already said, and it was like a 15-minute thing. But I think it's good to get the questions out, because the topic of eugenics comes up all the time, and again, talking about the elites, talking about eliminating how I always think about the morality of doing certain things and how where do we go? What is the best and most moral way to handle our predicament? Because people are living longer as well, and I'm not saying
kill the old people.
I'm not saying no.
That was a horrible joke. That was a horrible joke. No, I mean, the moral way to have handled that would have been to handle it way way before we got to 7.5 billion people, and started having fewer babies, realizing we were in this scenario, um, giving better options to women to control their own reproduction, and the patriarchal society has a lot to
Right.
do with that, and religions have a lot to do with that, because they really do push for you to have as many babies as you possibly can, especially in this state where we grew 26% last year, and that's way more than we can handle. We're the second driest state in the nation, and we grew 26% in 1 year. We have a ridiculous population, and it's getting worse. We don't have the water supply. Like, I don't know how to get it through people's heads that we got to slow down here, people. I've convinced all my kids not to have kids, and I feel guilty for having the kids I have, but at least they didn't continue the problem. They realize what the issue is. I kind of beat
Right.
it into their head since they were little, so they understand. That's horrible, but it's true. You could ask any of my family members. I've been against having babies my whole entire life. It's like, there's plenty of children on this planet already. Can't we take care of some of them? you know um so we should have handled it a long time ago. Now we're in the predicament where we have all these people. You can't kill them. And I kind of wonder if that's not what the elites have in mind with all these wars. And that's another horrible thought. But what if they want to start these nuclear wars to maybe deal with the lesser problem of nuclear fallout? I don't know. They have a lot more access to information than we do. But
Military wars has been a population control tactic for a very long time.
so why wouldn't it still be? Yeah, I mean,
No, it is. Oh, trust me, it is.
maybe that's what all these war things are about.
But here's another unexpected little glitch in our plan. If you're saying that we use the military for population control, and I'm not saying, trust me, I want all of our military to come home safe and all of that, but
And I want all the civilians to
be safe.
In a horrible way.
If we stopped all the war, then we'd really have to stop having babies, because
well, it definitely has to be an all the above strategy.
Yeah,
for sure. And yeah, we got to start living better, start having gardens, like neighborhood gardens, and the military could be building that too, in vacant parking lots, and on rooftops, and people can have windowsill gardens and stuff like that. Start getting your food more locally. Start doing things that are a little bit more sustainable. We're not going to save our planet, but we could at least maybe extend the life a little bit longer, I'm hoping. But anyway, it's almost about time to open it up for questions. Do you have any
right.
final things you want to say before we go into comments?
I will say this. As far as the planet goes, unless we actually blow it up, I think the planet has gone through a lot of changes, that maybe some that we have not even known about.
Yeah, we don't even know what we don't even know yet.
Correct. So, and I do not want nuclear, but the sheer fact that there are still people living in Japan near the Fukushima site is incredible to me.
Mm-hmm. But those that's more long-term effects, and unless you're affected by an initial blast or anything, the radiation is something that actually shows up generationally.
Right.
So, and it will show up again, in future generations. But yeah, that's a long-term issue, not a short-term. But it would be if we had like 2 nuclear plants melt down because they were taken off the power grid or something like that. That would be devastating.
What I will say is that I don't think most of us, as Oz said in that previous live stream, most of us wouldn't want to live in a bunker. However,
Right.
some of the rich guys, they already have bunkers planned and already underground stuff planned.
Lush
So
ones, but that's great.
yeah,
I mean, for a minute, it won't even save them. If they don't have
right.
air, it's not even going to save them. I mean, I don't know. The scientists say, sorry, that's not going to work very well. It may work for a couple, give you a couple months or something like that, but it's not going to work in the long run.
But before we take questions, if there are any questions, what I will
I'm
say,
sure there are.
what I will say is we have to pay more attention and stop just gobbling up
What they
selling points and what people tell us. Okay,
I
we
agree.
have to ask questions. And
Yes,
maybe
yes.
some of these questions are uncomfortable. Some of you guys might think, "Oh, he's a conspiracy theorist." Just ask the questions. Yeah, I'm not assuming anything. I'm not assuming anybody's intentions. I'm not assuming 5G is good, 5G is bad. The only thing I will assume is that nuclear is freaking dangerous.
Well, we know that. We know that it's probably killed a lot of fish in the ocean,
Right.
And that's probably why a lot of the whales are beaching like a lot more than normal. There was a baby humpback whale found in the Amazon, and no one knows how it got there, like way inshore. There's a story, look it up, and it's not like a National Enquirer story either. It's a science story, but they can't figure out how it got there. It must have been like a those those water funnels or whatever that happen over the ocean or something like that. They think maybe, but strange shit like that we can't even fathom is starting to happen. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist either, but how many of these tragedies can we recover from? Our power grid, in Puerto Rico and everywhere else. I mean, I worry about you where you are when another polar vortex.
I agree. I'm basically on an island that is attached to the land by the Verrazano Bridge. So that scares the ever loving hell out of me. And when Hurricane Sandy hit, that's another issue we have with dependence on
oil, heating oil.
Yep.
Yeah, I was
and gas.
In my last stream. This is okay. So all the guys that were there when me and Oz did the test stream, this is Dave, the one I was talking about, Indie Outsider, that was dealing with the cold weather coming in and having issues getting his heating oil. So just so you know, it is hitting people we know right now, this whole problem.
And on top of that, I don't know. Here's a question I have. In terms of Venezuela, I heard Venezuela had their power turned off.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah, but
wow,
can people get their heating oil turned off? We're talking about government-controlled energy. You know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, and I told you about that one company in California that's going bankrupt because they couldn't handle all the damage that happened in California, right?
Right.
They, after all the fires, and they're going to close down. It's a whole like electric company that's just going to shut down because they can't handle rebuilding all the infrastructure that got burned down.
Well, I'm going to go a little beyond that. I'm going to go a little conspiracy theorist for 1 second.
Okay.
Your power company doesn't like, or your government doesn't like what you're saying on the internet, doesn't like what I'm saying on the internet. All of a sudden your power goes out and your heat goes out.
Wow. Yeah.
I heard a couple people say that their heat went out, that all of a sudden it came back on. Now it might be, but I'm not.
But you depend on a delivery of heating oil, right?
Yeah. But what I'm saying is, when you're talking about government-controlled energy, when government controls your energy, what kind of can of worms is that going to create? Government doesn't like what you're saying. Boop. Can they pull the plug?
Yeah, I'm already freezing. I'm going to take that off. Gosh, it was working good. So I'm just going to keep me on sound. So let's go through the questions if that's okay, because we're already
Yeah, that's
later
fine.
than I said, but I know you'll hang out with us till we get through them.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fine.
so get your questions up there. Let's see. Scroll up so we start a little earlier, if you can, Oz. Kind of back where we were supposed to. Okay. Okay.
I don't see any questions.
There's no questions, but there's good comments. Let's read some of the comments.
Great comments. Yeah.
Okay. Human says 328,550,000 Americans control the U.S. military industrial complex, but the majority do not vote. Let's see. Oh my God, is that 7,557,600,000 Earthlings living outside America have little influence to make change? That's true. Yes. Very good comment, Human. Yeah. That's why I made you a wrench, because you're awesome.
Question for Human: Where are you? Where is your Extinction Revolution based out of? Just out of curiosity, because I know you're XR.
Okay. Can you see the comments? Because I don't want them to scroll down too far yet. So I'm gonna hurry and read through these. Think about that answer, Human. Or you don't have to think about it, but yeah.
I was just curious where he was, because if he's in New York,
we'll get down there again. Just put it in there and we'll get to it. Circle the Wagon says the psychopaths that run the world will destroy it before they ever give up. Yeah, unfortunately. Going south, there's no proof we were ever there.
The moon.
Oh,
he's talking about the moon. We're going into the moon landing now.
No, don't get into that. That's distracting. Come on, going south. Wait. You're going. Don't go so fast. Damn it.
Look, that was a question for the far future. Is it possible to colonize? They're talking about colonizing different, planets, blah blah blah. But that's way beyond what we're
not capable of that yet. I went through that. I think me and Guy went through that. It was in a.
Bezos is talking about it, and what's his name is talking about it. Elon Musk is talking about it. They are building a little.
Well, they better hurry. Okay, so Gazar, radiation, get big dose, die fast, small dose over time, still die, but slow. Yeah. Basil Peterson, my wife and I bought. Oh my gosh, Basil, I thought you were a girl. I'm sorry, a female. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. You just have that spirit in. Not that's a really good thing. But I gotta rethink all these things. I thought Osama was a female too, and Osama's a guy too. So anyway, my wife and I bought an off-grid organic farm 15 years ago and grow enough food to live on for 3/4 of the. There's an arrow under. Okay, the year, but my college friends think we are fools. No, you're not fools. Hell, I have plants growing in the room I'm in now that have food. Like right now in this room, I'm growing food. So no, you need to grow as much food as possible. I have chickens for eggs in my backyard. You should do as much as you can to stay self-sufficient.
One of the biggest acts of civil disobedience that you can do right now is grow your own food and grow a garden in your front yard. And I don't even know.
And your windowsill, like I have right here, it's going to go outside eventually, but right now it's in my windowsill.
We'll talk about that later. I'm talking about doing maybe small. Start small and then
get your dependence off consumerism for sure. Yeah. The Constitution was created because the British wanted the 12 colonies to stop at the Appalachian Mountains. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Oh, wait, who was that? I didn't get to see who that was. Who was that? Sorry. That was creative. Wait, no. I'm lost.
You jumped on me. Sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I know how that goes. Oh, Pat Hacker. I trust my government more than I trust private companies. Yeah, the big corporations. That's
Pat Hacker was saying that when I mentioned that the government could pull the plug on your electric or your oil, I don't trust either the government
I don't
or
either. They're
companies.
all the elites. They're all the elites that do not have our best interest at heart, and that's for sure.
So I will mention this because Pat Hacker just kind of mentioned it. My oil company, who I will not mention because I'm no longer with them, but they have been buying up all the smaller companies, and they've basically become a monopoly on Long Island. How the hell with it? Petro Oil. There, I mentioned them. I've talked about them before. They're buying up all the smaller companies, so now they're basically, they're pricing you out. And what they will do, they did this to me like 3 times. They'll wait. They say that they know how much oil I have and they will deliver before I run out. They'll wait until after I run out and then come. So they did that. I had already gotten oil from another company because it was 10 degrees out. And then they're like, well, we're going to drop you now because
oh, wow. I don't know how that works. I have
company.
natural gas that just comes to my house. So I have no idea.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. I don't have to have it delivered or anything.
It is a thing. So private companies can be evil. Yes, they can.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Oh, can be and will be.
Yeah.
And are. Okay. So
don't sue me, Petro. This actually did happen. I do have things that I can prove. So
I don't think they're paying attention to my small channel.
Good.
Okay. Human says, if America can void a treaty with other countries, can the American citizen void the contract with themselves? I wish we could void the contract that we have in our, because, our leaders have totally screwed us and voided the whole entire Constitution. We should be able to do whatever we want, not have to pay taxes, go into anarchy. I don't care at this point. Creative experience. NRC report said South Carolina nuke plant was in hot shutdown during last year's hurricane floods. Means cooling water was above boiling. Workers had to be brought in by boat and helicopter to fix it. That doesn't surprise me. In New Jersey, wasn't New Jersey, you're up by there, Dave? Didn't New Jersey shut down during the last polar vortex too? A nuclear plant there?
There was an issue. I know there was an issue.
I remember hearing something about it, but I don't know all the details.
Let me jump in real quick.
Yeah.
Thought. Chris Foster has a question here that's a direct question. When you get done, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, I see it. Did you have something else to say about the New Jersey? Because I don't know much about it. I remember seeing.
Honestly, I heard maybe one. I heard about it really, really quickly. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's the same. They see our media fucking sucks.
Yeah.
They didn't cover it. I'm sorry. I don't swear like this unless I get really mad. I really don't. Okay. I kind of do around the campfire, but not generally.
Let's get a swear jar started, okay? Can we get a
okay? We should, huh? Okay. You should put the questions up on the big screen, on the regular screen instead of showing. Well, not that it's not nice to see Dave's face, but maybe other people can see it too.
I can do that.
Perfect. Okay. Chris Foster, do you think we could get the current system to work for us if we remove money from the equation? I think that would go a long ways to help that situation. And I've always said that, yes, getting the money out of the politics. The problem is there's always backroom deals when you deal with government. So we need some kind of a decentralized government, if you ask me, something like the Extinction Rebellion has in mind. What do they call it? A citizens assembly, where they're more like it's a civic duty, and you and they just pull your name randomly and you're in there. And I don't know exactly how it works. I've been trying to get someone from Extinction Rebellion. Human, if you know someone, I'd really like to interview someone from Extinction Rebellion. But yeah, something like that would probably work better than our system with the elites, on top, and it's just imperialist society. It's just ridiculous.
We need to stop this almost diseased just dependence on governmental leaders to tell us what to do, because we know that money is in politics, and we know that money drives politics, and the fact that these energy policies are in effect, and I'll mention Jay Inslee, who's running for president. He's running specifically on climate change, and he owns an energy company and a biopharmaceutical company. So
Nailed it.
What do you think he's going to do? What do you think he's going to do? He's going to say, my companies are the answer.
Oh, of course.
So and you have to get this out.
That's what they're all going to do. All the corporations, they're writing the Green New Deal.
Right.
You know, they're writing that. Those and the politicians. That's not who I want writing the legislation that could help our planet. They're going to do what's good for them. They're not going to do what's good for us.
And I know your point about the Green Party and the fact that the Green New Deal isn't enough, and even the 10 key values aren't enough, because we're not going to legislate ourselves out of this problem. However,
we're not going to vote our way out of the problem.
No, and we're not going to vote our way out of the problem. However, the Green New Deal by the Green Party, there are two things that you need to know. Number one, the Green Party was formed to fight nuclear energy. That was the first thing, or nuclear proliferation. The second thing is that the Green New Deal, for all its potential flaws and all of its exclusions, it calls for a local people, citizen-driven energy plan, not corporate and not government. That's the difference between the Green New Deal and the Democratic New Deal, and that's my speech.
That's an important difference. It really is.
It really is.
Yeah. Okay. Human says, let's see. Here we go. The American Revolution was fought with a promise of land, as well as the Civil War. Desperate people will fight and die for land. Yeah. And I think that's why the Native Americans didn't believe in owning land. And they would think 7 generations out, like they wanted to keep the land for 7 generations. Like, and that's a really good way to look at it, like thinking 7 generations ahead, making sure that land is for that 7th generation after you. We don't, as white people, unfortunately, I'm one of them. I do have some Native American blood that I'm proud of, but mostly I'm white, and our people don't think that way, and it's really sad.
Don't get into an Elizabeth Warren situation.
No, I'm not. I mean, I do have that blood. Sorry, I do.
My great grandmother was Algonquin, but my question in regards to the Native American, this is pretty much, I would say that due to that belief alone about the land and ownership in the land, that is why they have been so
trodden on,
or their credibility has been just, nobody, the government doesn't take them seriously and tries to just discredit them at every turn, every single turn. And the way that they were dealt with during the TPP protests was unconscionable. No DAPL.
Yeah, I know, and
I said TPP. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no,
I meant DAPL. Yep.
Yeah. That was, it was unconscionable, and the way they treat them here in Utah, I've done story after story on how the Native Americans are just being totally ignored. Their treaty deals, they're just being trampled right over, and they kept them from having their own livelihood as far as having a casino. I'm going I hate that. I got ripped on that on one of my comments, so try not to do that. But yeah, there was there I go again. The more I think about it, the more I do it. Our government was really, really, really proud of the fact, Utah state government was really, really, really proud of the fact that they kept the Native Americans from having a casino and being self-sufficient because they want to keep them down.
Correct.
They want them to have no ability to support themselves. They want to have all the power. They want them dependent on the oil that they're drilling. And I found this out later that the Native Americans here, they get a tiny little bit of the proceeds of the oil, just enough to keep them dependent on it and not want to push for self-sufficiency. So that's another problem altogether, and I hope to get somebody on, but we are way behind on comments. Gosh, I hope you don't need to go to sleep soon. I'm getting way behind on comments. I want to know what Trebby 5 meant by the uphill media thing. I've been listening to John too much or something. What did he mean by that? Start all over. I can't go through all, how it does.
I'm trying, but yeah.
Just go down to the bottom and say, guys, make a comment again, because it's too hard to go back and forth.
There you go. You're at the bottom.
Book Hermit, we have a few really rich casino tribes around here. Yeah, well, they kept them from being here. So in Utah. Cy Brown, I don't trust our government to do anything right, no matter what party has power. It's all about money. Green Deal or any deal, money will always be a problem. Yes, I agree with that. How about you, Dave? Do you agree with that?
My question is, how do we get that across to people? I mean,
it's hard.
It took a while. It took a while. The thing that hit me was probably back in September of 2017 was September 11th, because I was delivering mail on that day, and it actually affected people on my route, and it affected people that I knew. Uh-huh. So when I found out that not only did the government not protect our citizens, they could have been involved in some way, I was like, it was pretty devastating. But
I got it now. Sorry.
How do we get
too
people
far behind on the comments?
Yeah. How do we get people to realize that the government isn't here to help us? They're here to fund their pet projects.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no way for us to keep these guys now. I mean, I know you don't want to get too political, but
I kind of want to keep up with the comments too, because it's their time. But yeah, I understand. We've got to figure out, and this is why we need to keep these conversations going, is to figure out how to get back to that. Like Pat Hacker says, we need to go back to regulation and oversight. But how do you do that when all those politicians are being paid off by the people?
And who are regulating and who are overseeing?
Yeah, that's important to figure out. How can we get that trust in place? We all agree on that. I mean, maybe not everybody, but me and you certainly agree on that, Pat.
So wait. Creative experiments, solar off-grid with lithium iron batteries and LED lighting has advanced so far. You can be off-grid no problem today.
Yeah, but how many people can do that? I mean, if you live in the city, can you do that? And if you're in a high-rise apartment building, okay. But yeah, think about that for a sec. I'm trying to get through as many comments as possible, because I really like hearing from the people on here. Chris Foster, getting rid of the money system, full stop, is the only way to remove the power of the elites. No money. Oh my God, it skipped.
No money, no influence. You got it.
The only way to remove the power of the elite. Oh my God, quit it. Stop moving. No money, no influence. Then they'll have to listen to the electorate, or they're out on their arse. Yeah. How do we do that? They're the ones that control the legislation that does that. I mean, and we don't have enough time. It's just, oh my gosh. Okay, Book Hermit, he's my favorite critic, by the way. Wait, what happened?
I didn't do it. Go ahead. Get back.
Okay, 90% of leaders are only in it to keep themselves and their friends and family rich. Yeah, see, me and Book Hermit agree on so many things. We do. he just doesn't believe climate change is a thing, and that's hard for me to understand. But we agree on a lot.
Well, that's one thing that we have to battle too, because just because the politicians are saying that it's happening doesn't mean it's not happening. Because a lot of politicians are saying that, and people aren't believing it because the politicians are saying it.
Yeah, but they
climate
weren't
is
saying
changing.
It before.
Yes, the climate is changing. But now that Bernie Sanders has been pushing it, people who don't trust Bernie Sanders are saying climate change isn't real. This is just a hoax and blah blah blah. We have to find a way to fight that.
The first thing I do is when I'm trying to learn something new, if a scientist or an authority figure starts going off on the Democrats and this and the Republicans, and
right.
If they're starting to bring politics into it, their credibility is down the tubes immediately.
Right.
Me. That's just that's how I look at it. I don't want politics in it. If they start mentioning politics, I think they have an ulterior motive.
Right.
But if they're not talking about politics, then I can give them a little bit more benefit of the doubt. Plus, I go back and research, look at the papers, look at other articles and scientific reports and all that. And I'm sorry, I'm not a scientist, so I have to trust people who are.
Right.
And so that's what I'm doing. Okay, human republic form of government in which a state is ruled by representatives of the citizen body. Our only option is to elect trusted leaders to decide choices society makes. And therein lies the problem. It's so hard to do that.
I will be right back.
Okay, C.C. Brown, 9/11 did not have to happen. To be honest, it's almost like a Pearl Harbor. Oops, we dropped the ball. Yeah, there's so many things in 9/11. I don't even know if I want to get into that, but yeah, it didn't have to happen, that's for sure. But it was sure useful for a lot of administrations to horn in our rights. C.C. Brown, I hope I'm saying that right. Sci or C.C. I don't know. Could have been stopped, yet it wasn't. Yes. Let's see. Where are we?
Jumping.
It's moving so fast, you guys. You guys are commenting like crazy.
They're putting them down. I'm
Holy crap. I want to read every one because I love these guys. I love doing. Oh, now it's gone. Okay. All right.
It froze on me. So.
Okay.
Let me put it back. That's about as good as I can get.
They're spraying the hell out of. Yeah, they're. There's circle the wagons. I don't know how I feel about that. If they're spraying us, chemtrails, all that. The scientists I've talked to so far said, not a thing. But I don't know. So I'm not a scientist. Pacific, far Northern California, 2 hours from. Okay. I guess y'all are talking amongst yourself, except for hi Forsaken. Any more comments, guys? Okay, big in future. We need a new monetary system. There will never be change unless we change the monetary system. Yeah. I mean, they used to go off of gifts, like giving gifts, and then people would gift you things and you always had what you needed.
I would say, in all honesty, a resource-based economy would probably be the best.
We need to be self-sufficient. We need to be more local and actually just no imports, like learn to live what we can grow and do here.
But how much energy do we expend, or how many resources do we expend simply by creating the money, the paper money and the coin money that we have,
or transporting food from other countries? Hold on, I'm going to get behind if I don't keep going through these. So, hold on, Dave. Well, you'll be on again, so don't you worry. You'll get your everything.
I pretty much said everything.
I know. Oh wait! It jumped. It jumped.
Yeah, I didn't. What do you want me to roll back or what?
Yeah, because I don't want to. I got to get through all these last comments. And
there's CC.
Okay, CC. Okay, getting to the the people to the voting in the USA, it's funny, they vote for the clown that can blow a horn, tell a joke or something. We got a low educated group voting. Yeah, and we have no verifiable voting system, period. So that doesn't help either. Bookhermit chemtrails are red herring, very little real, but enough to get people worked up. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm not gonna
Right. I ask the
our,
questions and keep an
yeah,
open eye and an open mind on that.
definitely keeping an
Yeah.
open mind is very important in all of this because we don't know. They've lied to us enough. We don't know. Sea level rise, nuke plants. They did not expect that. Yeah. Well, it's going to be happening more and more now. Chris Foster, have you seen the Geoengineering Watch website? Good info on there. I'll look at it. Thanks. I always like new resources. If you can email me that, by the way, anyone who wants to email me,
someone mentioned the Jacques Fresco Venus plan. Homesteading's still a possibility. I mean, some people are willing to do it now. Some people aren't ready to be there yet. So,
I would do it. But I only if I could take care of all the horses I have, which I can't. Okay. I lost her. Okay, Chris Foster, email me, thenaturalprogressive@gmail.com. Super easy, just like my title. And give me some information if you want. Yeah, I don't know about the about the Jackie. Good thing we're both on here because I have no idea what that was. That's the homesteading plan that Adam Thomas is talking about.
Jacques Fresco. He's no longer. He passed away a few years ago. But
okay.
there are people I can find out. I'm trying to remember the names of the people. There are some contacts I have. I'll get in touch.
Okay.
And get you the names.
Perfect. Thank you. This is a test. This station is conducting a test. This is only a test. If this had been an actual emergency, you would have been instructed to tune to one of the broadcast stations in your area. That's funny, human. That was my joke in the last thing, in the last video. Okay, circle the wagons. LBJ said in 1962, he who controls the weather controls the world. True. CC Brown, you know what it is like. Him. Okay, you're talking amongst each other. Hambone Littletail says what a
solar's like having your own power plant on your something.
Oh, sorry. Solar's like having your own power plant on your roof. Just got to kick out the slumlord landowners and rip out those grid tied power meters. Yeah, that would be nice. What is WASF?
What?
I know who Hambone Littletail is. I just
don't know.
Not getting the reference to the WASF. I know while you still can. That's the only reference but that doesn't sound right. Okay. Did the solar Dane Whittington? Zar, it was cheaper to build near ocean to save energy on cooling pumps on nuke plants. Yeah, but yeah, look at the unintended consequences of that one. We are so I get it now. I got it. Okay, Dave's yawning too. That was a good way. That's a really, really, really good way to end it. We are so fucked. I'm so happy I have the Humpty Dumpty tribe members here on my show. Very proud of that. That's awesome. Do you know who that is, Dave?
Who's that?
Hambone Littletail, Humpty Dumpty tribe, Collapse Chronicles. He has the best YouTube channel ever.
Really? Okay.
Hilarious and fun. That's awesome. Okay, on that note, guys. Okay, I'm gonna turn on my camera. Hopefully it'll last just long enough to be able to say bye, y'all. Okay. I'm back for just a second. I'm sorry. It was just my internet sucks. What can I say? If I get get a Patreon going and get just, $50, $60 a month, I could probably get better internet. So that's all. I'm not trying to make any money off of it, but I do want to keep this going. Anyway, guys, Thank you so much for coming. Dave, you have been a pleasure as always. And there goes my camera freezing again. Gotta love it. So we will talk to y'all very soon. Watch for Graham Elwood's video. I'm doing an interview with him on Sunday. And geez, I'm sure I'll have something up before the weekend's over besides that. So you guys all have a good one. And yeah, we'll talk to you soon. Say bye, Dave.
Bye, Dave.